I'm newly qualified, so I'm not a senior. I'm basically still new, but I'm the step up from an apprentice essentially. Like I have the authority to talk down to them and teach them how to work. Well, not talk down to them in like derogatory, but like as in like help teach them the trade.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've got the important role of doing my work. But then the next step up would be then taking on a bit more but taking on more of a role of like a supervisor, which would be like keeping an eye over like a couple guys, making sure the work gets done. So that's a senior role, but I wouldn't say I'm too far off it. I think another year and a half, I think I'll be there. But yeah, it's just taking little steps. Yeah, it's like you've got to kind of like go through the motions in order to get where you want to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear that. What would be your? I know I'm going to put you in the spot for this question, but like, what's a top tip you would give to a new apprentice or someone considering doing an apprenticeship?
Don't be afraid to ask for help. Honestly, the moment you start thinking, "Oh no, I'm not going to bother for help," as in like if you don't understand something, tell me, and I'll make it more easy to understand. Like I will physically stop what I'm doing and I will show you how it's done. Like that is it's a tip for everyone really. Like it's not just for people on site. If you don't understand something, don't just try and like figure it out yourself. Ask for help. I think you are more of a man asking for help than trying to figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
Or woman, you're more like you. I don't want to just like make it sound like it's a male thing, because obviously there will be other people out there which are the same. Like they don't want to ask for help because they don't want to seem weak. But it's not a sign of weakness; it's actually a sign of strength. And I've always said that. I said that in the interview, and they loved it when I said that, because the moment you know when you're not strong at something. That's it. Just acknowledge your weaknesses. That's what I couldn't think of the easiest way of saying it. Then.
yeah. It's about being self-aware.
Yeah, it's like we've all got pros and cons. We've got stuff we're good at. We've got stuff we're bad at. And if you need a bit of help with the bad stuff, then you can help someone with the good stuff. Like it's just how it should be, really. Everywhere, really. If you're good at something and someone's not good at it, and you can see that they're struggling, take a minute, just give them a hand. Like, what is that minute? What a minute for them, like for you, sorry, will save them like hours of work, whether that's in an office or at home, or even at work, like on site. Sort of.
Mm-hmm. And even like I've got a slightly different perspective on that as well. It's like, for me, I was always like, as the oldest, I'm always dealing with like all these different issues, and it's like they got to a point where it's no need to ask for help, because I always felt like I was better off on my own, in the sense that I can do it quicker, I can do it my own way, I don't know how to articulate it well, but it's like I've always been put into positions where I've had to solve them myself, so I've kind of become, I've adapted to that mentality. So it's always seemed like, why would I bother asking for help if I know that I can do it myself? But even still, it's like, as you said, a minute for a pro is like an hour for an amateur, and just having that, just understanding that you can just do things so much better. And I think on the topic of, for jobs in particular, it's like, if you're all working together on one project, if everyone's performing better, that works out, that benefits the whole team, as opposed to just the person who's asking for help.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can imagine you get that a lot.
Yeah, it shows a lot as well, because there are certain times where, when I was an apprentice, I'd say to the supervisor, I'll be like, listen, I haven't done this before. Can you put me on that so I can learn how to do it? And he was like, I mean, yeah, we can. I don't see why we can't. And they acknowledged the fact that because I was asking to learn, I was keen. And I feel that really shows, because I remember going to a Christmas drinks on the work do with the work lot, and I had one of the What was the title he has? Basically, he manages a project manager. There we go. I've
Okay.
never worked with him ever. And he went, "Oh, are you Sean?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "How do you know me?" He's like, "Oh no, I've heard great things about you." Like, and I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, thank you. And then it was only later I found out like he wasn't just a project manager. He was like quite high up in the company. And
Nice.
the fact that like obviously like good news travels fast, but it's nice knowing that people are talking like it's the nicest form of people talking behind your back. Like someone
Mm-hmm.
give compliments, which is it's a nice feeling. But at the same time, I know there's obviously going to be times where people are going, "Oh, he's fucking shit." Like, but I can live
Yeah.
with because, like I said, I'm still learning, and even when I'm like 40, still doing the same job, there's going to be someone that comes along, probably younger than me. He's going to say something. I'll be like, "Oh my god, that actually makes a lot of sense." Because that's the other thing I'd say. Don't be scared to listen to someone who is not as experienced as you. If someone's like just come into the game sort of thing, listen to what they got to say because they might actually come up with a better idea.
Yeah.
Because I remember one time it was actually the other week, I was pulling these cables in and, this apprentice I've been working with, he was, I give him stick as a joke, call him useless and that, because that's what I was done. People do that to me. And then he suddenly came up with the idea of like, why don't we pull that one to there? Then we don't have to go through all this trunking sort of thing. And
Mm.
I was there going like, fuck me, mate. Yeah, you're onto something here. And it's just the acknowledgement of like, fuck, I should probably ask people's opinions a bit more and not
Mm.
try and take all the weight on my shoulders. But then at the same time, like you were saying, like if you feel you can crack it yourself, I'm not saying like don't like you have to ask for help. If you can crack it yourself, you crack it yourself. Go for it.
Mm. But yeah, there's always going to be an element of time there.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I agree, man. And I think one thing that I learned from like just leadership roles in the past is that you're only as fast as your slowest member, or you're only as, as good as your worst player.
yeah,
And that's, yeah, especially prominent when it comes to like guys that never ask for help and you have to go back over their work a million times. It's like, if I just told you this one time 10 years ago, like
yeah.
we would have been
Exactly.
done.
Yeah, it's weird how such a little thing can have such a big impact.
Mm, very
And
true.
yeah,